Turkish riot police were back in Taksim Square Wednesday morning after a night of running battles with anti-government protesters in both Istanbul and the Turkish capital, Ankara. Joe Parkinson is joining us. Joe, have things quietened down now?
Well, this morning it's the morning after the night before, and the detritus of those running battles is strewn everywhere around Istanbul's central Taksim Square. Quite a bizarre scene this morning with the metro closed, people commuting to work amongst twisted metal barricades and charred vehicles. Things are much quieter this morning. The police are still positioned on the square, on the north and the south side, and the protesters are still in the Gezi Park. They took quite a lot of tear gas yesterday, even though the government said they weren't going to attack that area. But their encampment still stands, and despite heavy rains last night as well, which they're trying to sort of recover from, they say that they're digging in.
Joe, how many casualties have there been?
The casualties last night, according to the Turkish Medical Association, because the government's been very reticent about providing figures on this. According to the Turkish Medical Association, we had over 2,000 casualties during yesterday. So that's yesterday's clashes into the night and up till about 3 a.m. this morning. That takes the total figure somewhere north of 5,000 for the 2 weeks, and we have 4 fatalities as of now.
Is there any suggestion here, Joe, that the security forces are getting more forceful now than they were before?
I mean, yesterday, absolutely. You saw the images. It was by far the biggest, most concerted attempt by the security forces to really crack down on Taksim Square. The area, from the morning, we saw pitched battles as the police moved in, and then the biggest incursion came shortly before darkness fell on the city, and the whole area was caked in tear gas, and running battles continued on the thoroughfares around the square until the early hours of the morning.
Joe, yesterday the Prime Minister, Mr. Erdogan, made it pretty clear that he thought the protests were illegal. Is there any sign here of the two sides getting together?
Well, today the Prime Minister is supposed to meet representatives from the protest movement, although protesters on the square have said that these people are a hand-picked bunch that don't necessarily represent their views. They've said that after yesterday's incursion, they're in no position to talk, no mood to talk. We've heard more conciliatory statements from the president this morning, who's called for calm, but at the same time doubled down and reiterated the Prime Minister's view that there will be no toleration for these kind of illegal protests. So a standoff ensues. We're going to have to wait and see tonight whether more people will come onto the streets in Istanbul, Ankara and other Turkish cities, and whether politicians can start to really get some traction on making some sort of resolution. But at the moment, there's little sign of substantive movement forward.
Joe, thank you.